All right, we are here. So real quick, I got a few things that I'd like to talk about, but oh gosh, where do I start? I literally have sad news coming out of Iowa.
Sad news?
Very sad news. There was a train wreck this week. It was in Victor, Iowa. We reported on it. The post went pretty viral. Mm-hmm. There was a second passenger in the truck that was killed, and nobody knew who it was. Everybody was thinking, well, it might be the driver. Maybe it's the co-driver. It was a man's 14-year-old son died on the scene. Now, that's horrible. That's got to be something to probably never live down. I don't think I could. I feel so sad for the family. I really do. I don't know exactly what happened. Obviously, the train hit it, and the cab was literally laying in the field. It just ripped it right off the frame.
Why did they think they got to race the train? And what happened?
I have no idea if they raced the train or did they get stuck on the tracks. So many times I see truck drivers, they panic. You know what I mean? And they don't realize, like, for example, a lot of them, the gate will come down. Mm-hmm. And they'll stop, like, as if they don't want to damage the gate.
I'd be plowing through it.
Yeah,
I'd
rather be fired
through the
for
gate.
breaking a cross gate.
My gosh.
Than demolishing an entire truck or even getting killed or hurt.
Yeah, but I mean, every time I was around any of the train crossing gates, right? They do the blinking and stuff, like a minute or a time frame before the gate actually goes down. So with me, if I was still driving a big rig and I was going to be coming up to a crossing and I see them coming down, I would just stop and not take that chance. Because I've seen where some trains, some of the tracks, when the drivers go to go over, on the older ones, you could see where, if it's depending on what kind of trailer they're pulling, they can't get over very easily because of the way that humps over and the way the tracks are that it like scrapes the bottom. I've seen a couple of videos of that. Have you seen those?
Well, let me just say this. I know for sure tankers have to stop before they even cross.
Yes,
that's the law.
Right.
It's actually in the DOT book for when you're studying to get your tank endorsement.
They usually have a sticker on the back of the tanker that would also say, I'm stopping.
Yeah, we stop at road checks. Good point. Mm-hmm. But it was ironic that today another train wreck video came my way. And it was really weird because the trucker, believe it or not, was going to make a right. Now, this is a rural area out in the country. Cow pasture, cornfields, blah, 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 right? Where there's nothing, and there's a train that runs along the road. Mm-hmm. Well, it was the most bizarre timing I ever seen in my life. This trucker's going down the road, and he's going to make a right to go over. And he doesn't know it, but there's a train trailing him going this way. Now, I looked up on the web to see, does all train crossings, railroad crossings, have to have a gate? The answer is no.
No, I've seen a few that didn't too.
Exactly. So when you're in a rural area, like where this young boy was killed, I don't know that there was an actual train track there. So the weirdest thing was when I watched this wreck today with the other one, he doesn't even see this train. It's in his blind spot. He's just going to come up to it, or like this, and then just go like that. That's literally the path. And yes, technically the trucker should have stopped.
Look both ways before you go.
Yeah, look both ways. Because if you travel that area a lot, then you know that trains run that track. That's like when we go up to northern Florida, we know that one area where we always see trains running along. What is it, Highway 90, right? Up in that whole area there. Well, look, I'm not here to pick on that truck driver. He was life flighted to a hospital. His son died on the scene. 14-year-old I'm sure that he knows it by now, but if it was me, I'd probably never drive a truck again. If I actually, because the father's going to blame himself. No matter what, you're going to blame yourself. Mm-hmm. Even if technically it wasn't your fault.
Yeah, if there was a malfunction somewhere, he's still going to want to blame himself, because no matter what, when some tragedy happens, you always sit there and look at, there's something I could have done. And there's a lot of times there's nothing you could have done, but you're still going to say, there's something I know that, but I feel bad for them. I feel very bad for him.
Well, I would have to say that I literally cannot see how the train could ever be at fault. I just don't see that. Now, the other thing that I wanted to point out, we did a video a couple of years ago. There's a little blue box on every railroad track. It's got an 800 number on it. Mm-hmm. If you're stuck, there's a phone number on there. If you call that is the dispatch for the train. They will divert or have the train start stopping before it even reaches you. Mm-hmm. But when you're stuck, you gotta realize you're stuck, and you can't keep trying to get free
and wasting that time.
Right, because I've seen videos where truckers were stuck and they were spinning, and like you said, the hump was too high, especially if you have a low boy. I've been stuck not on a train track, but a hump of a road, because I had a belly box on my one trailer in Arkansas, and literally had to hit my differentials, and I actually got it out by myself. But I could see something like that being stuck on a railroad track, and you panic, and you're trying to just get it free because you don't want any problems. You don't want to lose your job, blah, blah, blah. There's a moment, you have a few seconds. The only ones that really don't have a few seconds are the ones that, when they hear like you said, they hear the ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, and they still keep going. They try to get over there, and then the one guard comes down on their trailer or something. Well, when you see the yellow lights flashing, stop. Yeah, I know it might be. I've seen trains for 45 minutes, and you're sitting there going, damn it, if I'd have just got across. Well, guess what? If you get wrecked, it's going to be more than 45-minute wait time.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see how a train could be at fault for it. The only way a train could be at fault for an accident is if it derailed. That's about the only thing. But trains can't be at fault when they're doing their normal route, normal, circumstances. Only when a derailment happens that I would know that a train would be at fault. Other than that, it's generally, a driver, the stand-byer's responsibility to obey those railroad crossings. But
anyways, prayer go out for that family and all that were involved in that. It's just such a tragedy in the industry, and I hate to see it. I hate to hear it. It's just, You know what I mean? You've got a 14-year-old boy. Sounds like the father was probably teaching him a trade. A lot of times 14, 15-year-old kids, unless they really are interested in it, they're not going to be wanting to tag along. I always wanted to go with my grandfather because I loved being in the truck. There's a good chance that this young boy was aspiring to, follow in his dad's footsteps. Unfortunately,
just got out of school, wanting to spend time with his dad.
Very sad. So we move on. Moving on. Let's real quick do a quick commercial for Truck Parking Club. They have over 5,000 truck parking spaces now. Yeah. And when I say over 5,000, I mean like private places. You could be out in the middle of nowhere, and if you have the free app, guess what? You're going to be able to grab a parking space. And it's free to download. And the reason I say is because there's going to be times where you're in New Jersey, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and you don't have a place to park. And you're going to be like, man, I need a place to park. And for just a couple $, Truck Parking Club could have you on a map in a parking space in seconds.
Right.
So download Truck Parking Club today. And also, if you're an owner of land and you could fit a tractor trailer or even a couple box trucks, you could actually sign up for free also, and literally start getting paid right away. You actually get paid immediately when truckers park on your land. And be fair to the truckers if you are a landowner. Mm-hmm. Moving on. Bubba.ai.
Hey, Bubba.
The most awesome AI dispatcher there is. Hey, Bubba, what do you need? I need a load from Los Angeles to Indianapolis, dry van freight. Bubba will find you the load. He'll negotiate with the broker for the load and the rates. He'll even pre-dispatch you, plan you ahead, and keep you going. If you have a big fleet, Bubba can also keep all your trucks dispatched. So as an owner-operator, you no longer are a small fleet owner. You no longer need to have your wife or somebody sitting at the house trying to book loads. Bubba.ai does it all, and the first 90 days are free. So sign up. If you don't like it, it's free. You can cut it off, but I'll tell you what, once you get Bubba.ai, you'll never give it back. Amen. Moving on. Hey, real quick before we move on here, the truck show in Houston, the Houston Truck Show, or the Texas Truck Show, it's called. We're planning on being there. Bubba.ai is going to be there. Truck Parking Club will probably be there. Everybody's going to be there. It's the biggest truck show in Texas going on right now. It's probably growing to the size as the one that used to be in Dallas. Jesus is putting on a show, and he messaged me today. He goes, "Glad you guys are coming this year." He said, "This is our biggest show." He said, "A lot bigger than Florida, so I'm guessing it's bigger than California." It's a big show. Be there.
I'm very excited, and I believe. You know, the one thing that we've started doing is when we're doing the different truck shows now, we're looking at
Go ahead.
Doing a few things like giveaways. Sorry, totally got sidetracked. And Hey Bubba does one where they give away AirPods where you scan them.
Awesome.
So I'm looking forward to the truck show.
So be there this July. I'm not sure of the date. It's probably mid-July. Ruth Ann, if you don't know the date, look it up for the end of the show, and we can give that date at the end of the show. Moving on. All right. You can tell I'm in a rushing. Okay. So I've got to find a little bit of a argument today online. And it's interesting. This subject. Maybe you've never heard of this subject. A trucker goes to work, right? He goes through orientation. He gets dispatched. He stays 3 months. He quits. He gets his last paycheck, and they deduct it a few $100 from his paycheck. He calls them and he says, "Why did you short me on my last check?" They said, "Because you didn't work here for 6 months." Apparently, they keep your orientation pay. Some companies, I guess, are trying to keep your drug screen money, which I could see that, but your orientation pay. And so I put it online for people to debate over, and it really got possibly it was like 1,000 comments. It was like a lot. And a lot of them were saying, well, you know, he probably signed a paper in orientation. Okay, I could see that. Some were saying, well, it cost money and you didn't stay and you signed up for this and this is what it is. Most people were on the trucking company's side.
Standing by the word, you know, in that manner.
So I went and I looked it up and asked Skippy. I said, I went to ChatGPT. I said, look up the law. And here's what it said. And you trucking companies, hear this. It said, under the U.S. labor law, if a truck driver is required to do orientation, he must be paid for it. Aha. Right? Mm-hmm. And also, you ready for the big one? If you logged his hours under on duty, not driving, when you logged him for the week. And that, I can tell you, 99.9% of every company, when they dispatch you out, they log your orientation hours onto your clock. So now you just told the labor board, if they come to investigate you, that you put it in writing that he was on duty. Working.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah. This was the law. I asked ChatGPT to look it up, and he literally quoted it. And I was going to bring him on. I thought, nah, Ruth Ann don't like you, Skippy, so I didn't bring him on. But so what do you think of that? So you got trucking companies trying to pull out these cornball rules. Now, look, if you want to keep somebody's money, you could charge him back. Now, again, I don't even know if you can technically charge him for the
They can't consider
for the drug screen and like hotel and all. Because I've heard of trucking companies saying if you don't stay X amount of time, you have to pay for your drug screen and your hotel bill. There was something else they said today. Oh, if you don't leave one guy wrote, if his company has a rule, if you don't leave a 2-week notice, right, they can pay you just minimum wage.
Okay, so
that's their company.
Here's what I don't understand. And this is like, I know when you work for certain companies, especially if you're a student, let's just say Sierra England, okay, or Knight. When you start with them and they pay for your schooling, you sign a contract that you're going to work with them for like 9 months or 11 months, depending on the cost.
Correct.
To repay them back for the schooling fee. And then return, when you actually paid and stayed that time frame, you then get your school certificate to show that you completed it, and you are now fulfilling your obligation for the contract. But when you have a driver that comes into your company and do you honestly have it to where they're signing documents stating that they're going to be with you for a specific amount of time for what's orientation pay? A lousy $350?
Probably in that range.
Yeah. So you're seriously going to go and make the driver sign a paper for the $350 that they're honestly should be due for them spending the time doing orientation with you.
Right.
And then if they don't last for a specific amount of time, take it back from when you've already made thousands of dollars off of that driver just from delivering loads. You already know that they should have gotten paid more because, most of them got greedy little pockets, not the driver, the companies. How can that be legal? I mean, I'm flabbergasted because I never heard of that one.
Well, I believe a lot of them think that things like that are legal, and like that one guy wrote, if you don't leave their company a 2-week notice, they can drop your pay down to minimum wage pay. I would almost have to think when you're signing in orientation, you're also signing for your pay rate. That's another thing you sign for, right?
Right.
I don't know how. See, back in the day, they could do what's called docking your pay. Show up late for work, they dock you. You show up 5 minutes late, they dock you an hour.
Right.
Back in the day, you remember that?
Yeah, if it was like they did like the 15-minute increments.
Right. Now that's kind of illegal. The labor department is saying, listen, anything. I'll tell you what. Also, the one thing that I learned a long time ago is any money that's earned has to be paid by the company, including bonuses. So let's say a truck driver quits, right? Let's say he gets a quarterly bonus for fuel and everything, and he quits. Okay, he earned so much of that bonus, and he should be legally paid this. This is according to the labor law.
Are you meaning like when they, how like usually it's like 3 months they get like quarterly bonuses that way?
Like you might have a fuel bonus or a safety bonus going.
And you only made it like a month and a half into your 3-month quarter, so that what you earned that first month and a half that you were there, you should still get it, right?
Technically, you've earned so much of it, but even let's say, for example, a driver quits, right, on the quarter. It ends the quarter. A lot of companies will try to just maybe give him his last check. They'll try to find little ways to gyp him, and they won't give him his bonuses. Well, the labor law says everything earned, including bonuses. A bonus is earned. That's an earned wage. People don't realize a bonus isn't a gift. You trucking companies that think you're giving a trucker a gift, okay? You're not giving that man a gift. You're giving him something he earned. And if he earned it, then you owe it. Fact.
Yeah. I agree. And I think, honestly...
And ChatGPT didn't tell me that. I knew that. I'm a smart guy. No, I'm kidding. Good.
Smart like a $2 bill.
Yeah. No, but seriously, for real, that is true. All earned money, including bonuses, and I think vacation pay. A lot of them, they put down that you earn, right?
So many days per
right.
year.
You get like some of them they accrue hours, right? For each day you get so many hours. That's how a lot of them are doing it now. Some do it, you get the equivalency to your 1 week pay. And it's called that you were earning your vacation pay. So that's an earned paycheck. So a lot of these companies, they're getting away with murder when these guys quit. They're literally gypping these drivers out of money they earned. And a lot of truckers, they don't push it, and they should.
I wonder, honestly, and I wonder if like Eichert and Associates, the young lady that the lawyer, our lawyer friend, I wonder if she would be able to help
Eichert, yeah,
get that straightened out, because
I wish we had her card we should have had it.
I have her card somewhere.
Well, we're doing a podcast that's going on 10.
So I would wonder if she would be able to clarify what a driver should do if they work for a company for a year or 2 years or whatever, and they only took like a week vacation so far, and they've already earned for, they would be getting their like a 2-week vacation type of thing, but they left beforehand. You know how many drivers I heard say, well, I can't leave yet because I have vacation time coming up and I don't want to lose it. You know how they always say that, to where they don't want to lose that vacation time they've already earned up. But like you're saying, is if they've already earned it and they end up leaving, instead of being it where they're getting that time off and getting that pay, that either way, it doesn't matter. They should still get that pay.
Absolutely. Anything earned.
I don't think drivers realize that.
Well, I know they don't, because in these companies, one of the things that happens with truck drivers, truthfully, a trucker, a lot of them, they'll go to these trucking companies, right? Mm-hmm. And the company promises them big miles, and they don't have the big miles. Some of them promise them a brand new truck. They'll get there and they'll get the oldest truck.
Right.
Some of them will promise them that they don't have to do any East Coast, and their second load is New York City. I'm just saying, a lot of times they BS these truck drivers, right? And then they don't get them home on time. This happens a lot. I hear it all the time. Well, if you're a trucker that you have a family and you need to be home, and they're lying to you, guess what? You're going to quit. And especially if the money that they say you can earn, and you're available for your hours to run, and they aren't providing you with that, you're going to quit your job. Well, so what happens is, when you go to work for somebody and now you're driving for them, nobody likes confrontation. Truckers, they don't want to call you up and go, hey, I'm putting in a week's notice. Hey, I'm going to quit. What they do is they try to figure out a way to get their last paycheck. They want to, get the truck back to you. I've talked to trucking companies, a million of them. They tell me it's nothing to walk in on a Monday morning and have 3-4 trucks parked in the yard. A trucker pulled in. He was too embarrassed to say, I'm quitting. Right. He returned the equipment, left it in the yard, and paid for his own way home, mm-hmm. right? Because he doesn't want confrontation.
Right.
And therefore, he ends up not realizing, hey, dude, you still have money coming. He doesn't even really confront the company about it. Why? Because he just wants to get out of there.
Right.
So a lot of them don't realize that, guess what? Vacation pay, fuel bonus, safety bonus, anything you earn, brother, you have it coming, whether they want to pay you or not. They owe it to you. And if you trucking companies disagree, write into me. Okay, and I'll bring you on the show, and then we'll bring also ChatGPT, and we'll bring one of the lawyers on with us, and we'll let them quote to you the labor laws that you guys are getting away with. I'm not saying every trucking company does that. I know trucking companies that will pay you, and literally, if you quit the job, they will provide a ride home for you as long as you bring the truck back. They will do that. But most truck drivers, some have been burnt so bad that they just want to get out of the lying trucking company. They run down the road without realizing that they're owed money.
Well, I know a lot of them, like drivers that I've talked to, they're like, well, I just want to do this because, the last time I told them I was leaving, they promised me the world. They would say, I would be getting home more. They were going to give me better miles, or whatever the case might be. They made all these promises, and then they, again, failed to keep them. And the drivers were just getting so tired of hearing these excuses that they didn't want to be talked into. They didn't want to be talked into the lie again, where hey, just do me a favor, just do this run again, just do this again. Or the other thing that trucking companies are so well known for is when a driver does say, hey, listen, I'm going to go ahead and leave, route me back home. Well, I can't route you home now. I got to route you over here. And they take them to the furthest destination they could possibly take them. And the next thing you know, it's 2 weeks before they're even trying to get the driver back to it. And the driver's already told them that he wanted to leave 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
the other thing is some trucking companies, when you give them a notice, they'll literally starve you for that last week or two.
yeah, they will.
Right. And like with owner operators, even they keep your money for 45 days when you quit. Why? Because they want to make sure. And in the defense of trucking companies, they've been ripped off also. You know, truck drivers have snuck money on the fuel card, got their paycheck, and went down the road, but then they get in trouble with that reference.
Yeah,
so
they do.
It's a double-edged sword, but I do understand where truckers are coming from, where they don't want the confrontation, but then they leave the company. Can you imagine how much money is really actually owed to truckers that they didn't even realize they have coming? That's a crazy amount. And the bottom line is, trucking companies, you should start doing the right thing. Maybe truck drivers would be a little bit better at communicating.
Can you imagine if there's, if one of the drivers find out, like say they're like, hey, you know what? I bet this is right. We're going to be owed this. And they open up this lawsuit. Can you imagine if this, like, it's a big enough company that they didn't stand by, where they were kind of like snuck away and said, well, if the driver left, it's his loss.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's our money that we can keep now. And the driver got a big enough amount of people. Like, say they only got
a class action suit.
Yeah. And it's only 100 drivers or 200 drivers because it's a large trucking company. Can you imagine the devastation that they can go through because of all the auditing that they're going to have to go through? I mean, it's not worth being sneaky that way. Because if you're ripping these drivers off for all the stuff that they do, ripping them off, good for you if you lose a few $1 million.
Well, what do you mean lose?
Well, the driver should get paid the money that they,
Well, who's losing money?
The company.
How are they losing money? It's not their money to begin with.
No, it's not their money. It's what their mentality.
In fact, the money that they kept all these years, they got interest on it.
Yeah.
So, like, when you say they're losing money, they ain't losing shit.
No, they're not losing it in that man.
They're paying what they owe.
Exactly. What I meant by losing is in their mind, that money was theirs.
But I don't care about their mind. They're not losing anything. Okay.
No,
they owe money. Okay. The ones that lost were the drivers that were never paid what they owed.
True.
Look, I don't care, and I know sometimes truckers can burn you. Okay.
Yeah.
I get that. All right.
There's always those few.
But that's the bottom line. And I don't think legally you can charge a trucker to come pick up your truck either. You can't. There's no back charging truck drivers. He's an employee.
If they abandoned it?
Yeah, if they say, hey, come pick up the truck. I don't think that they can legally charge a truck driver for that. Now, I could be wrong about that. I don't know.
That I don't know. That's their equipment.
I don't advise truckers abandon trucks. Really, bottom line, that's just wrong. And I understand trucking companies have been burned, but the bottom line is, like you just said, and that's a good thought. What if you got a big company? And I don't know. I'm not going to name the big companies. Everybody knows the names of the really big companies. What if there is one of those? And I wouldn't think that they're doing it, but what if there is a big company with thousands of trucks, and for the last 20, 30 years, they've been literally keeping drivers' orientation pay, or they've been keeping their vacation pay, or their earned bonuses. Can you imagine if all of a sudden they literally made a class action suit? And what they normally do when they have a class action suit, they don't go at it right away. They just start advertising it. It'll be online. If you work for this such and such company on this date through these years, I've seen them come across my pages. Mm-hmm. You could be entitled to so much money, blah, blah, blah. So I would tell you that, you opened up a can of worms with that thought, but I'm going to tell you something. It definitely could actually happen, and companies could be in a lot of freaking trouble. They probably hate us right now for bringing it up.
I'll only take 0.25%.
Yeah. No, listen, hey, you know what? Bottom line, it's not their money.
It isn't there. It's the driver's money.
In fact, the money you stole off truckers, you got interest on over the years. And look, for the companies that don't do that, I'm not picking on you, but you know what? What's fair is fair, guys. Moving on. Hey, just a quick note. This is all I got. This is what I have left. Texas has opened up a online portal for complaints about autonomous trucks. Yeah, for the general public. So if you're part of Texas, well, actually, to be honest with you, if you're driving in Texas,
I was going to say, it shouldn't matter if it's you live there or if you drive through it.
right? Well, it don't. I just was speaking stupidly. So if you're in Texas and you're driving and one of their autonomous trucks looks like it's unsafe, this is really where they want the complaints. You would go to, you ready? TXDMV, right? On the front. I went on it and did it. This is how I know it. I made a video. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube or Facebook. I think it's on Facebook. But anyways, you go on txdmv.gov, and then you click on File a Complaint, right? Once you click on File a Complaint, then you click on, I don't know, the next one is something about managing the complaint. It's like 3 or 4 different things. You click, and then these 2 forms come up. A form for the trucking company that owns the autonomous truck, and your form, and then you hit upload or whatever, and then you can come back and there's a thing that says track my complaint. So you can come back to see what Texas is doing about it. Here's what I encourage everybody. If it does any little thing, if you're near an autonomous, I hate autonomous trucks so bad because they're taking truckers' jobs. Okay, they haven't taken any yet, but that's the goal. I've been arguing this for a long time. I went on the thing with ChatGPT, and he literally said, unfortunately, truckers are going to lose their job. That was literally AI.
They are, but you said they haven't lost jobs yet. We don't know.
Well, they only have a couple on the road. So
just a couple drivers that could have been doing that.
Look, bottom line is it hasn't affected drivers yet. But here's what it's going to happen. It's going to. So my big thing is be a pain in their butt. If they do anything on the road that you don't like, put the complaint in. txdmv.gov. Seriously, do it relentlessly. Put the complaints in. They're not going to probably do a whole lot about, you saying, well, it was riding too close to me. Well, actually, it might. Video it. Because I think there's a file there for you to video. Video it if that truck is coming too close to you or it's doing something stupid. Put this on TXDMV, upload it, and just add those complaints, people. Don't slow down. And maybe Texas will realize something is going to happen when we have a couple thousand of these autonomous trucks on the road. I say be a thorn in their side if they're going to be a thorn in your future. You like that?
Uh-huh.
If they're going to be a thorn in your future, be a thorn in their side. Complain. I'm not saying make up complaints. I'm saying any little complaint, put it on the TXDMV. Put it up. I don't care if you have to go on there 20 times a week because you're in the route where that damn thing's at and it's coming too close to you or it's not using its turn signal. Whatever, make the complaint.
Well, here's the thing. Making that complaint could save someone's life.
Absolutely.
If it's a dangerous vehicle.
And someone's job in the future.
It's definitely going to save someone's job. But
all right. Did you look up our podcast for the week? Did you look up the dates for the Texas truck show?
July 25th through the 26th. So July 25th and 26th.
That's a weekend. Mm-hmm. Okay. So
at
July 25th.
At the NRG Center in Houston.
At the ARG Center?
No, N as in nickel.
NRG?
NRG.
The NRG Theater Stadium? Okay. Center, which is probably a stadium. All right. So moving on, do you have the word of the day?
I do.
Repetend.
Repetend?
Repetend.
Repetend.
Repetend?
Repetend.
Okay.
REPETEND.
Yeah.
Repetend.
Right.
What do you think it would be?
Honestly, I think of a ribbon. I think of a... I don't know.
Repetend.
Is it something to do with repetitions?
Pretty much, yeah. A recurring word or phrase, a refrain. So the song ended in a repetend of the first line of the chorus. Or Edgar Allan Poe uses the repetend nevermore several times in the poem The Raven.
Ah, interesting. Repetend.
Is it repetend? Repeating?
Nice.
Recurring.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Ruth Ann, we're out of here.
Peace.
Peace. Praise the Lord.